ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary alike. This is another episode of the Gobshite podcast. This is my brother Dan Newman.
Welcome.
I say brother very loosely because he's not my actual brother. Considering Gary was on the last podcast, I thought I'd better clear that up. This is one of my best mates. I've known Dan Newman for over 15 years, or thereabouts. Dan's a photographer. He's my old guitarist from my first ever band called
Paralysis.
And it's him that thought of a name. Also, we didn't mention this on the podcast. Do you remember the old drawings I'd done?
Yeah, the one with the eyeball in the wheelchair.
Yeah, it's just like all graffiti.
Fucking great they were.
Oh.
Did you do them in paint?
No, it's do you remember the company Serif? I think it was Serif. Serif done like Paint Shop Pro and things.
No, don't know.
Yeah, so like I use some wing bats or wing things that were fucking cool to make this eyeball character and disabled logos and things for Paralysis. It was
really cool. I really liked it.
It's basically a guy in the whole wheelchair logo.
Disabled badge.
Disabled, yeah. But instead of a head, it was just a giant eyeball doing breakdances and things like called spinning your eye and shit.
That's right.
But anyway, yeah, how did you find the podcast, mate?
It was really good. Different to the normal Gobshite podcast, I would imagine. Yeah, just very
Same
raw,
format.
very normal. Just a general conversation, really.
And that's what I fucking like. So, hey guys, hope you enjoy. Take care, and if you like it, share it, get involved. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Right. Welcome to another episode of the Gobshite podcast. I got it right this time, yes. I'm sat here now with my brethren, Dan Newman. I say brethren very loosely because he's as white as they can be. So my brother from another mother, Dan Newman. How the fuck you doing, mate? All right?
Yeah, not bad, mate.
So you've just come back from Hungary.
I have. It was a beautiful country. Very, what's the word? Half and half. So if you look over to one landscape, it's the most beautiful thing you ever see. Turn 180 degrees behind you, there's shitholes all around you.
Yeah, it's a bit like Romania when I went there.
Yeah.
So have you actually been well travelled? Have you actually really been anywhere?
Oh, God. When I was a kid, my parents used to take us on holidays to the Canary Islands. Used to go there all the time.
That's not really cultural Richmond.
Not
is it?
really.
Just...
Been to Portugal, been to the Algarve. Again, that's not really cultural. It's more of a touristy spot. Been to Egypt. Never do that again.
People, you've been far more travelling than I have then. Jesus, man.
Egypt is one of the biggest hellholes I've ever been to in my entire life.
But so your girlfriend is Hungarian. That's why you've been out there.
Yep.
So you're visiting family.
Yes.
So leading up from that belch, how did that go?
It was really nice. It was really odd because her mum doesn't speak any English whatsoever, and neither do her mum's friends and family and all that lot. So I was learning tidbits of Hungarian here and there. I was doing like Duolingo course to pick up like phrases and stuff like that.
So how long have you done that for?
Properly for the last couple of months.
Cool. So you've actually been putting the effort in.
Yeah, I do it every day. I'll make it part of like a morning routine. Like I wake up, I'll do my little Star Wars game on my phone. Get all my dailies on that. I'll do a brain game called I can't remember what it's bloody called now.
Shit game, isn't it?
I know. I do that every day. And I do Duolingo every day. I picked up bits and pieces. A lot of it was stuff that I learnt whilst out there. It's a very, very, very bizarre language. They've got like 40 odd letters in their alphabet, and every kind of dot on top of the letter translates to a different way that you'd pronounce it. And
how so? Like, are you sort of quite comfortable with some of the basics?
Or very, very basics. It's a very hard language to learn.
Hello, goodbye, left, right.
Kind of, yeah, I don't even know left or right, actually, to be honest. I know beer, which is shirt. And when we were staying with Gabby's friends, well, mum's friends, they didn't speak any English, like I said. So they'd be like, shirts? And I'd be like, again, which means yes. So yeah, I just sat there kind of quietly and got pissed every night because I didn't understand what the fuck was going on.
Because what I was going to say is... if you don't know Dan, he's got a very, very dry sense of humour. Has a tendency to rub people the wrong way, but not intentionally. Just because you've got such a dry sense of humour,
It's never intentional. It's always situational. I always find a hook of something that I can create a joke over, and it is literally just a joke. So.
Well, Dan's typical, like, he loves his dad jokes and sort of like he's got a very sort of dry sense of humour, as I said. So like normally. His brain to mouth filter isn't always there, so he'll think something's hilarious and he'll say it out loud, and people sort of just scorn at him. But
yeah, I was listening to your podcast that you did the last one, And there's a few bits on there I was like, yeah, I would have said something completely different there, but I won't say that now.
That's one with Lex. That's a really heavy one because by the time I released this, the one with Gary would have been out. So
one before that then.
Yeah. So I'll backtrack a little bit then. I met Dan, I'd say, fucking hell, I was 16,
16.
I was 16 going on 17 because I was in sixth form first year.
I just turned 16. So yeah, because you're the same school year as me, but.
So when you're sort of like, typically when you're 16, you start going to house parties and things, and you start branching out your friend circle. So I started meeting more musicians in the area like Dan King and whatnot from different schools. Dan Newman went to Stanley Park, which was a neighbouring high school in my area. And just by chance, I was heading to a gig to see Finch in a Million Dead, and you happened to be on Frank Turner's old band.
Ah.
Yeah, do you know Frank Turner?
Yeah. What's the band called? Mongol something.
Oh, Mongol Horde.
Mongol Horde.
Not Mongrel.
Mongrel, whatever.
Mongol Horde.
That's
yeah.
The one.
So me and my first proper girlfriend. I say proper. I was only 3 months, but my first sort of I suppose first relationship. Me and this girl Lou was going to get up on a tube at Northern Line at Morden. I was all emoed up and happened to bump into my mate Dan King,
when you had
who
your
was
blonde hair.
Was Tom Lee there as well?
No, it was me, Dan, and a guy of ours called Alan, who I haven't seen for fucking donkey's years. And funny enough, he sent me a request on LinkedIn the other day, so I must reconnect with him somehow. But yeah, we went to the gig. We went to Morden, met you and Lou there.
And basically, we hung out, I went there with my girlfriend, but ended up hanging out with 3 other guys. And it was quite a pleasant night, but as I was saying before, Dan's dry sense of humour rubs people up the wrong way. And it rubbed me up the wrong way. This is back when I was sort of a bit more...
First impression, this was.
Well, to be fair, it's a bit more when I was a bit more of a flaky kind of character. I wasn't very confident, I hid behind my eyeliner and shit. I wasn't very macho. So I was more of a liberal, progressive type back in them days because I didn't really have much going for me. And Dan, to be fair, if I get Dan's humour, and me as an adult, as a man, I get it. But at the time, I felt a bit intimidated by sort of his bolshiness and sort of... I was very protective of my girlfriend Lou because it's my first proper girlfriend, and it was such a sad affair. We was fucking in the pit pushing it forward, and Dan was standing behind Lou, and he's like, "Oh look, Steve, I'm touching your girlfriend's bum." He wasn't, but he had his hands about an inch away from him, and she laughed, and I just scorned him like Dan Newman. It's just a silly little fucking joke.
Anyone that knows us, this story is infamy. Seriously. Yeah, that was a fun night. I got on with her quite well.
It's a great night. Well, to be fair, not many people are familiar with this story because the podcast we done last time for Young Dagger, I never released it.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's all fresh material. So what happened after that is I think we must have been separated in the crowd. Then went to go McDonald's or Burger King, something like that.
Burger King, yeah. And outside the Astoria.
And Dan was fucking golfing down his fries like a fucking seagull. Honest to God, I don't know why this guy doesn't enter into eating competitions because he just fucking deep throats anything you put in front of him, apart from your cock, unfortunately.
Yeah, not literally.
But yeah, so we exchanged MSNs and whatnot, begrudgingly.
That's proper old school, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Traded email addresses.
And that was it. I sort of forgot about the guy. And Dan knew I was a vocalist. No, he didn't. I was a vocalist.
I didn't know. I made a really bold assumption there. To give a bit of context to the band that I was in at the time, it was the band that we ultimately formed and properly made something of and played a few gigs with, called Paralysis. And me and 2 of my other skating buddies, we decided to start a band. And I was a guitarist, a guy called Lawrence was the bassist, and a guy called Mikey was the drummer. We were all really heavily influenced by bands like Nirvana and Pearl Jam and all that sort of thing. And the band was originally a grunge band. And at the time we didn't have a vocalist, so I was lead vocalist. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know that. I do now.
Okay. Originally I was lead vocalist of the band. And
surprising because I've heard you sing.
Exactly. So anyone that knows me knows I can't sing. So I gave it a go, gave it a good go. Didn't work out. The drummer decided he wanted to part ways and go elsewhere, which was fair enough. He had other priorities he wanted to take care of. I think he had a kid on the way or something like that. Anyway, neither here nor there. So at that time, around about the time we exchanged email addresses, I was desperately in need for a vocalist and in need for a drummer. And I made a really bold assumption that Steve just looked like a vocalist. So luckily that one paid off. Sent him a message, asked him if he wanted to come down to practice. My bassist that I had at the time, Lawrence, he then bailed.
But just to backtrack, so Dan approached me at MSN and I saw, I was like, oh fuck's sake, it's this guy again. And he started chatting about sort of needing a vocalist and that. And at the time, it's like I was playing around with being a vocalist, and I was writing some very basic fucking lyrics, which I thought were fucking amazing. I was like, Dan, I'm a vocalist, and I sent him through a little Word document
with your lyrics.
With my lyrics, and Dan likes it. I wish I could find these fucking lyrics. It must be on my old laptop somewhere. But I still remember one of the lyrics was like, "Black grips the wings of unborn flight, embracing the weak and scolding the cold."
Very emo.
Breaking yourself out from this once perfect mold. Just fucking like just basic shit to your rhyming schemes. Just like trying to sound all cryptic and dark. It's awful. But Dan digged it.
Yeah.
And so from there we started sort of trying to form a band. So I'll let you take over.
Yeah. So Lawrence, my bassist I had at the time, he decided he didn't want to do it no more. So we recruited. What was the name of that guy we got in on bass?
It's Danny Grant.
No. Yeah. Who was the drummer then?
It was Anthony.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, it was Danny Grant, who Steve's already done a podcast with. He was our original bassist, and we used to go around to his mum's house, and we recorded our first song, which was called...
What?
When Blood Runs Cold.
No, we didn't record that around there.
Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't record that around Sean's.
No, we didn't.
We did.
The first demo, 100% was recorded at Danny's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I remember because Danny was going through his Muse phase, and yet again, like we didn't have a proper setup. There was no audio interface.
No, we did it in his kitchen.
But it was recorded direct through the microphone jack in the back of his tower.
That's right.
And he put this fucking awful bass fuzz over everything. Yep. He was very heavily into Muse. And it was just like...
Yep, that was the one. So yeah, we did When Blood Runs Cold.
When blood runs cold, your soldier's soul. Revenge is what you seek, the darkness in me.
That's the one. And a nice little lead line that went over the top of that used to drive Greg mental.
And that was fucking based on the lyric structure on that, and the way I wrote that was heavily influenced by early Caliban.
There you go.
Yeah, shit.
Do you know what the influence behind that lead line that I put over the top was? Dying in Your Arms by Trivium.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We'll have to try and find these files and sort of just have a little cringe session.
Yeah, I can still play it.
Really?
Yeah, I can still play it. Anyway, so that was the first song. Which is about 11 years ago now. Probably longer than that. No, definitely.
It's longer than that.
Yeah, definitely longer than that. Yeah, we recorded that. Danny soon jumped ship.
Anthony made one practice.
That's right. Yeah, because we did that little promo photo shoot that you dug up off of MySpace. Do you remember?
Yeah, as when I was first learning how to use Photoshop.
Yeah.
It was just like learning how to fucking do layer master borders and shit. It was fucking atrocious.
Right.
And I found the font.
Real close-ups of our face and all of that.
And I found defont.com. And I was like, yes, look at these fucking
Yep. That was fun. So yeah, Danny jumped ship. Anthony jumped ship. Oh god, this is a funny story. We were friends with a band called Civilian, that people will know us will probably know of them as well. But they were like a really big up and coming band in the local scene, well, within our kind of circle, I guess. And we went to a party at the drummer's house to launch. I think that was when Adam Wade was the vocalist, wasn't it? It was the launch party.
It's when Cole Johnston joined guitar and
Adam on vocals.
Yes, because that's when Ibby was on guitar before.
That's right, yeah. He was still there. It was John. It was John. He was the singer and guitarist. He don't know what happened with him. He buggered off or did whatever. But this was the launch party for those two guys, and I knew this guy called Sean because I was dating a girl called Yvonne at the time, and I met Yvonne through Sean. I can't remember how I met Sean. Anyway, I digress. So we were sitting in the garden, and Sean wasn't the best bassist in the world. 100% honest here. Sorry, Sean, if you're listening. You'll probably meet it yourself anyway. Anyway, we're sitting in the garden, pissed as arseholes, and I've been telling Yvonne the story of how we need a bassist and all that, and she knows that Sean wasn't the best in the world. This is probably going to open a massive can of worms here, but oh well.
I doubt it.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
Anyway, sitting there talking to Sean, selling him the spiel that we need a bassist in the band and all this kind of stuff, and Yvonne's sitting there in the corner going, "Don't take him on his shit." So I'm sitting there going, "Shut up, shut up." Anyway, Sean joins the band. I think Greg was in the band at this point as well,
because we bought. I bought Greg round to Danny's a few times, and Greg sort of stuck it out with you guys, even though you fucking ignored him whilst fucking he was there. He was like, fucking that Greg was like trying to be his input. You're like, no, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment.
No, we won't, but we can do it, yeah. But so, and don't forget, Greg was mutual friends with these guys at the time as well, so it was all there.
Yeah, it was a good little circle of people to be around, actually.
But it's it evened out because I brought my friend into the band and you brought your friend into the band, and sort of
it kind of felt like a project, didn't it? So yeah, that was how we recruit those guys. Tom was a friend of Greg's, I believe, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Yep, so we got Tom into the band. Tom's nutter, absolutely fucking nutter. There was one time we went to practice at his house, and he lived in, not far from where you used to live, wasn't it? Cavendish.
Yeah, he
not
lived
far from there.
very top of Sutton.
And we got to his house for a band practice, and he'd been for a run, and he'd run from his house to Red Hill and back again, just because he was bored.
Yeah, he's a fucking Gino, man. Like,
yeah, he was absolute maniac.
He's went to fucking, where'd he go? Is it Oxford? He went to Oxford to study medicine.
Really, really clever guy.
And if you go onto his like Facebook and that now, he's fucking doing all the wingsuit shit and that. Like, guys are fucking.
Yeah, he's adrenaline junkie.
I knew he said proper junkie there.
Adrenaline junkie. Yeah, he was going for a laugh. Yeah, got the band together. Practiced our 4-set song list meticulously at Steve's old place in Cavendish. Played our first gig in front of a lot of people, wasn't it?
It's a weird setup because it's the only gig I've ever played at that place. It's in Wimbledon.
It was South Wimbledon, yeah, opposite the Tube Station.
And later on, I became friends with this band called Blow Ups, and there was headlining. And there was like, no, we can't headline like.
No, wasn't it the first gig we played? It was based on the number of tickets sold.
No, the Blow Ups were supposed to play, and they didn't want to.
They did play the first gig with us.
They did, but they were supposed to headline. And they didn't want to.
I thought it was with the second gig we played that they didn't want to play, and then we played that one with.
The Blow Ups did play, but they didn't want to headline.
Oh, well.
So we got pushed up to the headline slot.
Yeah, so our first gig we headlines. Was absolutely fucking shitting myself, but halfway through the first song I kind of found my confidence, started doing knee slides along the stage in the middle of guitar solos and all that sort of stuff. I think there's pictures on MySpace somewhere.
It was a great fucking show.
It was amazing. It was the best buzz I've ever had from a show.
And I think it was the day after my granddad died as well. And it's just like I had to. I was like, no, I've got to fucking.
Yeah.
I've got to get through it. It's like I had to fucking. I set myself a challenge of getting through it, and that my reward was getting on stage and that, and fucking not let myself being bummed out and shit, and that, 'cause I know you wouldn't want that. And me and Greg were quite popular in the Sutton scene. We pulled in a big fucking crowd, including some of your friends and shit.
Yeah, quite a few of my friends came down.
It's just like we were treated like fucking rock stars, even though we were fucking awful.
Yeah, it was an amazing feeling.
It was great though.
It was the best, and then every kind of subsequent gig we played after that just didn't live up to it. The second gig we played, as I said a second ago, we played with a band called Sacred Mother Tongue, who their guitarist is a guy that I used to watch his DVDs to practice how to play lead guitar. Andy James, yeah.
Lick Library
guy, that's the one. And
he's still going now.
He is, yeah. He's got his own projects.
He's in Wearing Scars, if they're still going.
Is he?
Yeah, the same label that Barry signed to. Barry Death Remains signed to Transcend, and so are they, Wearing Scars.
Oh, nice.
They played a show together at the Transcend Records launch, which Death Remains played. Yeah. So Wearing Scars played as well.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
Yeah.
Well, shows how out of touch I am, really.
That's just a couple of years ago now, man.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was my idol. I used to watch his stuff. I still watch his stuff on YouTube now, and this guy can absolutely shred. But I met him, so starstruck, and the gig wasn't the best, really.
It was a weird setup because, again, there's still a Transcend Records night.
That's right. Yeah.
So this is when Transcend Records first started, and they were funded by that fucking gangster up London. I can't remember his fucking name now, but he turned up in a fucking full-length fur jacket and fucking bald head, fucking looking the fucking bee's knees. And we was the only band that played but wasn't on the label.
That's right.
So we played with a band, a female-fronted band called Adestraya, and it was sick. And each of the guitarists had about 20 fucking pedals, and we're like looking like shit. We went on next, and I mean,
it was a bit of a reality check, wasn't it?
It was massively. But we still had a fair response. But at this point, we're still covering Enter Heartache. Like every fucking band, that metalcore band did back then.
Yeah. It was definitely a gig that we wasn't ready for.
Also, there was a song we used to fucking play, which I never ever had the lyrics for, and it's just every song.
I think it was Untitled, wasn't it?
Yeah, because every time we played it, I made a new name up for it.
Do you remember that time we played Stage Fright, and then you were singing that song, and you didn't know lyrics to it, and then you put the microphone into the audience, and this kid just knew the lyrics before you did.
Well, basically, there's this one guy who's we used to play quite a lot in Wallerton and Carshalton at Stage Fright at Rockstock. And we had quite a big fan base, surprisingly. You know, we'd fucking always bring in a lot of numbers. And there was this one fucking lad. He'd come to all of our gigs, and he would stand at the front of the stage, staring up at me and mouth back my lyrics. Now the problem was he didn't know my fucking lyrics because our songs hadn't been released.
And also the point was Steve didn't know what.
And in that song in particular, I didn't know the fucking lyrics. And he was going, mouthing back to me. So I done a dickhead thing and put the fucking microphone in front of his face. Go on, mate, singing back to me. And he was like,
and it was passable. So
to be fair, he was doing what I was doing, makeup. So to be fair, I can't say he got the lyrics wrong because I didn't know what the fucking lyrics were.
On that same song as well, there was this outro bit, wasn't there, where there was just a guitar solo, and I always play something different every single time. I never had a set solo for it.
I still remember fucking you always thought. So in the end of Heartache, in the second verse, when it's like that bit there.
Yeah.
I still remember you was like. Would sound better as at the end as well, and you always play at the end, even though the canon song Kill Switch fucking engage in
I just thought it added a bit more depth to it.
No, but I love the fact you're so precise. Just like, do you know what, man? I'm gonna just. I think Kill Switch should be at the end.
The moral of the story here is that at the time I was a fucking cock. Me and Greg, who was in the band, and I always to this day feel bad towards Greg. I've got no animosity towards the guy, but me and him used to have some heated arguments, and he used to really, really get the hump with me, and I fully deserved it. There was one time at band practice where I think I gave him a funny look because he was playing like a Bring Me the Horizon riff or something like that, and he was like, right, let's go outside, let's fucking have this out. And I was like, whoa. Like, I proper shit myself that time. But if he did knock my head in, I would have deserved it.
Well, the thing is, me and Greg never fucking played like chumps. It's just the fact, like, you know, Greg fucking... This is back when sort of... Greg had moved back to South London and sort of moved to this area to move away from the racism and shit that he got in down in Devon. And in high school, he never took shit. Like, he would take it on the chin, but fucking when his brain switched, he'll go for it. Even if he knew he wouldn't win the fight,
he would just see red.
Because he never wanted to fucking feel like he was a champ anymore. And that's why me and Greg gravitated to each other, because we complemented that aspect of each other. Where I could talk my way into an out of a situation, but if Greg fucking lost his temper and wanted to go for gold and fucking swing a bang, I'd be right next to him, fucking at the same level of energy. So Greg would help me. So Greg would fucking tell me. I would try to talk my way out of a fight, but Greg would tell me when, no, we're going for it now. Right, fine, cool. So like, he'd give me the benefit of the doubt. Then when he compliment each other in a weird way. But yeah, so like I still remember like so we used to have this in joke when Dan used to get frustrated. When Dan used to get frustrated, he'd go, "I'm losing my rag. I'm about to lose my rag. I'm about to lose my rag with you lot." So so after this whole
anyone from South London will know what losing their rag means.
Well, I think everyone knows that. You're not fucking presuming you're a girl in a fucking blob and you can't fucking find some stuff out there.
My missus is foreign, so I have to explain this stuff all the time.
Fair enough. It's a British idiom, yeah. So after the whole altercation with Greg and Dan and stuff, when Dan sort of went down a couple pegs, any time we started seeing Dan go a bit red in the chops and fucking get a bit angry,
it was an in-joke.
Get unjustifiably sort of angry or red, we go, oh, watch out, guys! Dan's about to lose his rag, and we'll start searching around the band practice room. Fucking,
where's his rag?
Yeah, where's his rag? You're like, fuck off.
Where was the last place you saw it?
Yeah, fucking just like, fuck off, you guys. And it turns into a joke, and instantly it'd be like an adrenaline dump, and you fucking calm down, and we get back to what we're doing.
It was a good laugh. But
it's just going back to that Barfly gig.
Yeah.
So other bands we played with was The More I See, which was
guitarist from The Prodigy, wasn't it?
That's correct, yeah. And I still remember when I was watching there was this mammoth of a fucking woman with her hair down to her arsehole, and she kept windmilling, just for every fucking song, just windmilling relentlessly, and it just kept fucking smacking everyone in the chops and the head, and I didn't know what to fucking do. So like moshing and stuff, I thought, I can't fucking bump into this beast, but it's just like a very beta male, like fucking just let this fucking broad her fucking press like smack him in the chops
in front of about 30 people.
And this was just after. Sorry, this just reminded me. This was just after the whole fucking Sophie Lancaster thing. I might get this wrong, so I apologise. But Sophie Lancaster was that goth girl that got beaten up on a bus for defending her boyfriend and died.
Yeah.
Because I remember him fucking stopping, the set to fucking, pay homage to Sophie Lancaster and that. And,
that's right.
We all fucking put our fists in the air and he fucking tried doing some. Don't forget, like all those intentions were meaningful and great. he was a guitarist from the Prodigy, so like he was the oldest guy in the room.
Yeah.
And his version
by some distance.
And his version of metal was so out of touch, and it's quite like it's like watching your granddad fucking like try to do the latest dance, but fucking end up doing a foot shuffle or doing some fucking old school fucking jazz or whatever the fuck it is, or fucking. It's just like you're watching, you feel pitiful. Like, oh bless him, he's like, right everyone, revolution.
Trying to command the room, yeah.
But it was a cool fucking night, and then from there, we spoke to the head of the label and that. Well, I did, and the guy said we don't actually have any deathcore bands on our label at the moment. Because again, this is the early MySpace days. Bring Horizon weren't even a household name yet.
Yeah, this was like 2008.
Which is back. This is back when like Enter Shikari, Eyes of a Traitor.
Enter Shikari at the time were the first unsigned band to sell out this story. Literally around that time.
But that hadn't happened yet.
Oh yes, it hadn't.
So it's like.
Yeah, because they made their name through MySpace.
So Eyes of a Traitor released like Tombstone City. Bring Horizon started releasing shit onto MySpace, and it's just like we caught that early fucking wave. So it was getting plays, getting listens, and the guy said to us, the head of the label, went, "All right, guys, if you can get me a 3-track EP in 6 weeks, I'll sign you." And we thought, "Fuck yeah, brilliant!"
Second gig,
brilliant. And then the next reality check come in when it comes to recording. Said EP, because I think at the moment we had one song.
Yeah, we recorded one song. That was the countdown, wasn't it?
Yeah, the countdown.
You still got the mixes of those as well.
I've got one on the computer, yeah. So back in the day, against the MySpace day, MySpace generation, and nowadays, we're only one link away from a producer or someone in a bedroom that can record up to fucking.
Yeah, anyone can do it to a great standard now.
But at that point, there's only 2 studios worth going to, and they weren't anywhere near us. So the first one was a Steakhouse studio in fucking North London, and the other one was, I can't remember the fucking name of it. We went to.
It was in Hawley, wasn't it?
It was in Hawley.
It's where I live now. It's not far from there. It was in a little barn at the back of a farm.
That's right, because that's where Boys Kill Kids recorded their album. So we recorded our single there, and we thought, all right, guys, we got our tracks together. The thing is, we're still at a point where we didn't really play in time and stuff and whatnot, and we was like, well, we've done the countdown in a day.
That's right.
So we can record 3 tracks.
We were very bold in assuming that we could do 3 songs in 3 days. No, in 2 days, wasn't it?
2 days. And we left with 1 song.
Yeah.
Because Tom just couldn't stay in time, to ages get the drum tracks
it was very haphazard. Yeah, it was a bit all over the place.
But it's like, again, it was like 17, 18, and it was eye-opening because it's like, well, shit,
It was a massive reality check. Like the thing with that band is because we started on such a massive high, is that we assumed that we could maintain that all the way through, and we didn't.
Well, just to put it in perspective, I remember like frequently for about 6 months I'd get on local buses and stuff, and fucking girls and that would be like, "Oh, is that Steve Kerr? Is that Steve from Paralysis?"
Yeah.
People had our stickers and were fucking putting stickers everywhere and that, it was like little local celebrities for a little while, and it made you think you was in the running with the big boys, and it.
When the reality was, we just weren't.
No.
Like if we listen back to our tracks now, it's cringy.
But at the same time, I do miss the idea of young lads, young guys and girls in bands having a platform for what we had and that, So fucking it made you sort of. Don't forget, I'm still in a band. I'm still chasing that dream. This is like 15 years later.
And respect to you for doing it, because like I always envision and I always say to people, like I miss the old days when I used to be in a band. I used to be on stage. Like that first gig will always stick with me till the day I die. But I never stuck at it. I got complacent with it. I assumed that I was much better than I was, and I got writer's block. I guess you could label it as writer's block or creative block. And every time I picked my guitar up, I would just play the same chords over and over again on the same scales, and everything would just sound the same. And I was like, no, I'm completely falling out of love with this now. But in your respect, you just stuck at it, and I've always had massive respect for that.
Cheers, man. I appreciate. I briefly mentioned a podcast with Gary. I've had this conversation recently with Yannick and that, and when I podcasted with my little brother Gary the other day, I'm still chasing that dream, but as I'm getting older and that, I'm at a point right now where I'm a bit stalemate. I don't know how further I can keep pushing this, because it's just, I wouldn't say it's surrounded by disappointment, but it's a lot of hard, there's a lot of effort, and it's just as I'm getting older, I don't really have the energy.
I think it's one of those things you've just got to do for the love of doing it.
I do love doing it.
That's what I mean.
I do, but the thing is, as I'm getting older, more priorities are fucking ticking. I'm moving on to become a tattoo artist, and it's just like I spent the last year focusing on a few things, so podcasting, tattooing, my band, and that's more or less been it. And being a bit more of a better friend, being a bit more sociable when I can fit it in. Obviously, private work's got in the way of that, but it's not that I'm any less infused. It's just the fact like being in a band is so difficult nowadays. It's really, really difficult. I mean, especially as we're getting older. I mean, I'm one of the youngest in my band, and I'm 30. You know, I think Martin's, you know, Martin and Raph close to sort of 35, maybe a little bit younger. But Martin's got kids. I mean,
the priorities are all different.
Yeah,
and you know, you become an adult.
Of course, yeah. So it's just like, and also because trying to like, so I've joined the Cryptids, and because of social media and stuff and that, you know, back in the day, we was garage bands. You know, you joined bands with your mates and mates, and you went to Screamland, you practice. Whereas nowadays, because of the internet, people can fine tune their artists a bit more. But because of that, we all live in different parts of London, north, east, west. You know, so we all meet.
You all literally meet in the middle, really.
So it's a bit difficult. So we try and meet on Sundays for practice and whatnot. But also means because we're so far apart from each other, we don't really have a home to gig in. So any venue is a distance for somebody in the band. So we can't frequently play as much as we used to, which is it's difficult because I ain't fucking pulling punches here. We're a good band. We write good music. I can't wait to release the stuff, our newer stuff, and also the EP. But it's just the whole dynamics of it all. The whole fucking like.
Life gets in the way of it becoming the major priority, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's not that I'm not infused anymore, and it's not that I don't want to do it. I fucking do, but it's just there's so much shit in the way of making it easy.
Yeah.
And that can be very, very draining, especially now trying to be a committed boyfriend. You know, me and Rosie are sort of trying to I mean, I love this fucking girl. We're trying to go for distance. You know, we're setting up our future. We're setting up things in the next few years and setting plans. And it's just like at some point I know I'm going to hang my hat up. And
that will be a hard day for you, I think.
It is. I've tried it before after the last Legion, but you know, I'm not doing this to be signed. I'm doing this for the love of. It keeps me grounded.
Yeah.
I mean, you see me fucking when I've been at my worst, when I fucking haven't any creative outlet, and I'm just fucking binge drinking, fucking shoving gear at my nose, and fucking just trying to right the wrongs of the world down a fucking pub because it's just I felt like I need. I'm being self-deprecating right now because being a
self-deprecation is the best way to grow, I think.
The thing is, man, like being a vocalist, all I've got is my words, and I don't like being that fucking guy looking for sympathy, fucking putting his problems out to the open. I'm quite reserved in that way, but writing a fucking song takes me a while. Because I just sit down and go, I'm writing a song today. Writing a song can take me 6 months to a year. I've got about 1,000 unfinished documents on my phone. Every now and then I'll think of a verse, I'll think of something right, and then I'll go through all the fucking empty notes and slowly form a song. And then again, the guys will give me a new song, and they'll be like, have you written lyrics yet? It's like, yeah, I have, but it's going to take 6 months or so to finish it because it's an organic process. I know when the song's done. The thing is, where it's not as frequent anymore, you know, playing gigs and writing new material, being in the studio, I don't feel as compelled to write this stuff down. Yeah, again, they're hardly ever thoughts in my head now. So driving to and from work, listening to podcasts at work, or it's very. I've got to be in the right mindset to feel. Oh, I'm writing lyrics today. I'm very seldom in that mindset. So yeah, I'm not giving up, but it's just like because there's no.
It becomes secondary, I guess, doesn't it?
Well, at the moment, it's like
inadvertently secondary.
Because there's no. Oh, sorry, I'm about to fucking sneeze. Fucking hell. Fuck's sake.
Oh dear. There we go.
Because there's no fire up my arse in the band right now, because again we're sort of, you know, we try and work things out, looking for a new drummer and that. There's no fire up my arse to sort of sit down and be creative. So at the moment I'm focusing my creative talents on drawing and doing the tattoo stuff.
At least you're still keeping that creative spark alive.
Oh, of course,
in other avenues.
I never fucking will stop doing that. That's me. But we're getting a bit of a fucking topic now. But like, it's just I know at some point I have to hang my hat up. But for now, I'm still fighting a good fucking fight. But so I think this would be a good segue because you were saying about how you just play the same chords, same scale, stuff and that. So what I've known about Dan, I've been friends with Dan a long time. I know him inside and out. And the thing with Dan is he picks something up and his brain's just wired to master it, and he very quickly adapts and gets good, but then gets complacent, gets bored, and puts it fucking down. And he's sort of skateboarding, he's seen it playing guitar. And for me, being Dan's friend, you know, it's frustrating for me to look at him and be like, you have all these assets and your characteristics and your fucking makeup as a person to be fucking great. But the thing is, when Dan does things like skateboarding and guitar and whatnot, it's a sense of ego involved with that, because you want to be the best. There's like almost like an end game, or like if you're not up to scratch with what's going on, Dan will get frustrated and put it down. So I suggested you take a photography up, because in photography there's no end game. There's nothing to compare it to. You just do fucking you. There's a basic set of rules, but you can break them. And so let's sort of jump in now to your sort of whole photography career.
Well, I'll backpedal a little bit, like talking about things like getting good at habits, and then getting to a bit where you hit a block and stuff like that. Like recently, I've been doing a lot of self-discovery, and to give the people that don't know a bit of background on me, I'm store manager. I'm manager of a O2 store, and my job is to basically lead and inspire people, and also to coach and develop them. And one of the biggest challenges that I've faced is self-deprecating myself. Now, the reason that it's probably the most beneficial thing I've ever done is that I've actually now pinpointed all of the holes in my life to now be able to give decent advice to other people and to be able to coach them into a different aspect. Like, I've always thought that I'm quite good at giving advice to other people, but I'd never sat that back and thought to myself, what if I'd received the same advice?
Yeah.
And what would I do with said advice? And ultimately, to put it into a nutshell, the problem is, like you say, ego. I always get to a point where I feel like I've accomplished something, and then I just kind of put it down and then always kind of stop. And obviously it's not right. It's taken me until I'm nearly 30 to realise there's much more to life than just being a dick.
It's not even. I think I wrote you saying dick because I was about to mention the word bell curve, because it's just like you'll get to the point of the bell,
and then just drop.
No, but you'll stop at the top to avoid the going down.
Yeah.
You get to the top, you're like, right, if I put it down now, I can hang my head high.
Yeah. I think subconsciously that's the way my brain was kind of wired. When I was a kid, I don't mean to sound bad to my parents or anything like that, but when I was a kid, when I was a very, very small baby, I had pneumonia. I was very close to dying, apparently. I was there, but I don't remember it.
Of course.
And I had this really eye-opening conversation with my mum last year, and she was like, ever since the day that I thought that my son would never come back, I always thought I would give my son everything he wants. So as part of my upbringing, I would say to my parents like, oh, I want a new games console, I want this, I want that, and they'd be like, yep, there you go. There was no value of worth to anything. I never really had any sense of pride in anything that I had received. It was just kind of to be expected, and I kind of lived that mentality all the way up until my mid-20s, even up until maybe a couple of years ago. Everything was very materialistic. Everything was just kind of come and go, like, oh, I'll find the new next big craze sort of thing. And bridging into things like photography and that, I originally started that as a way to try and get the creative spark back to play guitar.
Yeah.
To try and find some different way of looking at things, to maybe see things a bit differently and all that sort of stuff. I know that's basically the same thing twice, whatever. And it just bridged off into something much more
intimate.
Yeah, I guess. Like, I really like portraits. I'm really, really digging portraits. And there's a few Instagrammers I follow. I like the dark arts. There's a guy on Instagram called Harris Newcomb. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
His stuff's very dark, dingy, grungy, but it's all portraits. So if anyone is listening to this, they want to check out that style of photography, check that out. Have a search on him. And that's kind of the avenue I'm looking to aspire towards. And I could take the things that I've done when I was younger or anything like that, like, just to use an example, like being in the band with Greg and constantly being a dick to him and then finally getting a bit of retaliation. I now know how I would translate that into a theme to create a photo or create a project. I found my self-discovery over the last couple of years.
It's really good to hear, because the thing is, I've always said, I've been very open as a good friend to you. I've been very open. It's just like, as much as you what the fuck's that word? As much as you have the tendencies.
I don't know how the fuck you got that word wrong.
Don't worry. I merged two words together. I merged lack and something else. But lack's the wrong word. But I've always said about you is you've got the right firing in your brain, the right fucking neurons firing off. that allow you to read something, comprehend it first time, and get it. So, but like I've always thrived with my creativity. So I picked up my camera and I learnt the settings, learnt how to fucking what they meant, and went out. But you're just fucking sitting at home like a fucking boffin, reading article after article, watching video, and your camera became your best friend, and you learned how to fucking all the foreplay to get to the right things. The thing is you lacked was the execution.
Yeah.
So the like compositions and stuff. So like you knew how to use your camera the best way. But you relied on me to help you with composition and say, well, Dan, try this, try that.
Sometimes you just need that though.
But the thing is, though, I've always said like you'd be the master of your art if you learnt to find a creative mindset.
Yeah. What I need to coach myself into doing is coaching myself, basically.
Well,
rather than search for the answers to something, like how can I make this photo look better, I need to ask myself that question.
It's taking risks as well. So like it's just you know. Right, so I've always said, that Howard Jones was a better vocalist because he's textbook.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesse is
more raw.
Jesse's more raw, and so he's kill switch engaged vocalist, by the way. Jesse's raw because he takes chances. Jesse's the voice of rebellion and chaos. Howard is the voice of reason, angst, and doubt.
Yeah.
So Howard knew how to use his voice and execute it to fucking sound haunting, but he lacked the lyrical content.
Yeah.
Jesse took risks, and so with your photography, it was very textbook. You can
I was a Howard.
No, but you can negotiate your camera in the best possible settings. You make your camera be the best thing. But the problem was, it's what was in front of you. You couldn't negotiate what was in front of you. You couldn't handle you couldn't negotiate the chaos into something artistic. So it was difficult because it's just like I was trying to help you out. I was trying to sort of help you get gigs and things and that. Try and put work on your plate, and saying to you, right, go do that. But more often than not, some of the better shots that you got was when I was with you, going, try this angle, and you'd be like, oh, but Steve, raw thirds. Fuck raw thirds. Just give this a go.
Yeah.
But that's a compliment to you, because watching you, like, I mean, me and you, like, over the last 2 years especially, we sort of like, I've let you spread your wings a little bit more because I've had to fucking focus more on me and fucking sort out my mental health issues, sort out what I'm doing in my life. And just watching you fucking grow to Dan out by yourself. I mean, for fuck's sake, you're living with your fucking girlfriend now. You're both fucking.
I know, my parents would never have thought that.
No, neither would I. So me and Dan have a sort of bit of a weird relationship. I love this guy like a brother. I'll always be there for him. But it's just Dan had a habit of forming relationships and then giving that his all, and I always be there. Then it gets to a point where it's like, right, fine, Dan's doing that. Dan's doing him. I'm gonna do me, but he knows I'm always here. And there's an inside joke with him and one of his ex-girlfriends, Sarah, where she thought I was an imaginary friend because Dan always told these anecdotes about me and him, and she'd never met me.
I was with that girl for about 2.5 years as well.
Yeah.
She only even met you the once, I think.
And if you don't mind mentioning it, it's just like I got a phone call saying that you'd had some seizure and and you was in hospital, and instantly fucking tools down, fucking alright, I'm gonna go see Dan. And we kind of reconnected over that few days you was in hospital, and I come up every day, sneaking some beers at McDonald's.
Yeah. Fucking chundered that up the following day. The anaesthetic.
Well, it's difficult for me because I was epileptic as a child. Now I'm still a bit dubious as to what that meant, because back when I was like, again, I'm 30. You have to understand, modern medicine has really excelled in the last 10 years. So for the first 3 years of my life, I was considered epileptic. I'd have fits, I'd have seizures, then suddenly it just stopped, and then when I was 10 I had one last seizure, and it's never been it's not my even on my records, I don't register being epileptic.
You can drive, so
but also at the same time my uncle Ian, I was going through something with him. My uncle Ian, he passed away sadly a few years back, and he suffered from epilepsy most of his life, got to a stage where it was fine, and then he sort of went on a dole, come out of work, and then started having seizures and whatnot. He went through a bit of heartache with his family and whatnot, and
if you haven't gathered already, I've got epilepsy.
Yeah, I thought, did I not say that?
No.
Yeah, so just seizures and stuff.
Oh, you said I had seizures,
yeah. So anyway, right, yeah, but at the time my uncle was going through some experimental treatment, so shout out to SUDEP. SUDEP is basically sudden unexpected death for epilepsy, and it's my uncle was on experimental treatment where they kept reducing his medication to then put him in hospital and try and induce a fit. So for a week, they'd fight with his meds, and lo and behold, the fits would never happen. But when he'd leave the hospital, it would happen. But due to the nature of epilepsy, because it's neurological.
It's a neurological disorder, yeah.
they don't tell you that you could die from this because it might fuck with your anxiety and stuff, and go the wrong way. So my uncle wasn't aware that through this treatment he could die. And eventually, he was at home with his wife. Went to work, come back home from a cleaning job, and he was dead. And my mum and my auntie Tina, his sisters, tried reviving him, and it's just where sort of say goodbye to my uncle at quite a young age. And so at the same time, my best mate Dan's going through all this shit, and I'm trying to be the best friend I can be to him. But it's just like this is hanging over my head, I don't want to scare him, and but it's good for you to be aware of these things.
Yeah, it's nice for me to be aware of these things,
especially now because they've been trying. Well, tell your story.
Well, the medication I was on is a medication called levetiracetam. Obviously, means nothing to nobody. But they treat it for like mild epilepsy, and what I suffer from is what's called juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, which is basically only affected through sleep. There's not really any reason or rhyme as to why it triggers. It just does, just happens.
Yeah.
Since I was diagnosed, I've had a fair few seizures, but nothing too bad. I got signed off work for a little while they were reviewing my medication, but now I'm up to a point now where they've upped the dosage ever so slightly, and it's much more controllable. And touch wood, no real issues at the moment. I've obviously got to be aware of the fact that it is a life sentence. I guess it's probably the wrong word.
Which means like you're the youngest person that I know that owns a blue badge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get free travel, which is always good.
You got freedom pass.
Exactly. I got an OAP bus pass at 26. I think I got it.
So basically, the experiment.
So it has its perks.
So, but the experimental treatment my uncle was going for, is basically they were trying to induce a fit in hospital so they could locate the part of the brain that was fucking up and remove it.
Yeah.
But obviously that never happened. But having that information, it's easy for me to sort of like try and sort of speak to Dan at times, be like, don't let him fuck with your meds. Just go with what works. I know you've.
Yeah, they had to up it ever so slightly because the idea of the anticonvulsant medication is to stop you convulsing. So obviously, if what I'm taking is making me convulse, then they need to review it. So they did, and like I say, touch words.
So talk a little bit actually, because your epilepsy is very, very strange. Like you only know if you've learnt to know when you're having a fit because you wake up next day all tense and shit.
Yeah, basically, it's like my body's been run over by a steamroller. So if I wake up in severe pain the following day, it basically means I've had a seizure.
Because don't forget, you've been staying with your parents for a long time, single or in relationships or whatnot. So often not you go to bed by yourself. Mm-hmm. And it's just talk me through that experience of waking up and sort of like just.
I remember the first time I had a seizure. My ex Sarah was the one that called the ambulance and took me to hospital. I remember the travel from the bed to the ambulance, and I remember telling everybody to go fuck themselves because I was so confused, so scared, I was so worried as to why I was strapped into this chair and being taken into a bloody ambulance. I thought I was having a nightmare or had been sanctioned to a loony bin or something. And it was really funny. One of the paramedics just turned around after I told her to go fuck herself multiple times. She got a bit assertive and turned around and said, "Dan, don't swear at me, I'm trying to help you." And I was like, okay.
But the thing is, people must appreciate how scary that is.
When you do wake up after having one, it is very, very confusing.
Of course, your brain's fucking trying to fucking reboot itself again.
It's just reprocessing. It's trying to work out what the hell's happening.
You're now being strapped down, you're fucking having like sensory overload with fucking noise and shit and that and just chaos.
Yeah, it was very weird. My ex at the time, and respect to her for actually calling the ambulance, but initially at first she just thought I was being silly because it was normally about the time I'd wake up to go to work. But all I recall is just the journey from the front door to the ambulance, and that was it. And all of a sudden my two parents were standing there looking at me really oddly, and I was like.
But also another side effect that you started working for O2 and that, and you came, when they started fucking around with your meds trying to find the right dose for you, mm-hmm. You'd have blackouts, right?
Yeah, blackouts. Well, I think they're called absences. There's a technical term.
Sorry, absences.
But yeah, basically your brain just kind of switches off for anything between like 10 seconds and a minute. And as many times I've been sitting down, I'd be talking to a customer, I'd have someone really irate shouting in my face and that kind of stuff, and I would just sit there completely vacant. There's one time I was giving a review to one of the guys at work, and I just switched off for a minute, and he thought I was taking a piss. And he's sitting there, after a minute, he's prodding me like this. Dan? I'm like, what? and all of a sudden I'd be back in the room. And this was happening more and more and more frequently. This was happening probably about 4 times a week, something like that. And basically what that is it's a very, very, very mild form of a seizure. So I'd end up having like a massive migraine, which ultimately led to me being signed off work for quite a while.
So there's quite a few times where like I'd try to hang out and you wouldn't get back to me till like 3 in the afternoon because you've been in bed all day, lights off, you couldn't do nothing. It's
I
just
couldn't do fuck all. But at the moment, I was diagnosed with that, about 5 years ago, I think that was now.
It's crazy how fucking time flies, man.
Yeah, to me it feels like it's longer, to be honest.
Which is even more of a testament to your character that now you're the manager, you're Mr. Manager, and just fucking you've moved out with your missus. You live in a fucking nice little place.
Yeah, I've not let it be a thing that stopped me from doing what I want to do.
So inadvertently, it's kind of been like a couple of arse you needed in some respects.
Yeah, in some respects.
Because you don't have the time to be complacent anymore.
No.
Because you've got to make sure that you're eating right, you're not fucking getting too pissed up, you've got to make sure your meds are fucking fine. And now, lo and behold, you're finally playing guitar again.
Yeah, I'm being much more productive. That's probably the right word. I'm a victim of routine. I do like a little bit of a routine.
It's helpful to have though.
Yeah, exactly. I'll come over from work and my missus plays piano. She's learning a bit of guitar. She's teaching me bits of piano. I'm teaching her bits of guitar. So we're bouncing ideas off each other rather than just kind of sitting there and just being like, oh, let's watch telly. We do that. Don't get me wrong, but there's always things that we can do to help each other become better people, and that's what we're doing at the moment. And it's a shame it's taken so long in my life for this to happen. But I'm 100 times a better person I am now than what I was when me and you first met.
But you say that, but I think that's what the 30s are about, man. Because like my next chapter's starting now, and so is yours.
I'm not 30 yet.
No, you're nearly there, though, man. No, you're nearly there, though.
I know.
Like, you know, you're the same school year and that. Like, we've got the same fucking barcode and I
2 weeks. Well, 10 days actually.
Well, it's just. We needed all that fucking shit in our 20s to appreciate what's happening next. And, you know, if I could change my life and start again, I wouldn't change a fucking thing.
No, neither would I.
Because it's made us who we are.
Yeah.
And we're still. Of all the people that aren't even part-time friends, or not even part-time acquaintances, people that have walked out of our lives that are doing their own fucking thing. I mean, I wish them all the best, but they ain't sitting here right now fucking having a chin wag, putting themselves out there on the fucking line. So Dan, honestly, I appreciate you doing this, man, because you've been very sincere with all this. You've really opened up, and it's been a good fucking podcast on my end. So let's finish it off by promote some of your social network and stuff.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram. My Instagram is Dan Newman Photo. At the moment, it's very much a mishmash of loads of different types of things I've taken photos of. Most recently, it was just the holiday stuff from Hungary. I specialise in portraits. If you want a portrait, hit me up. Yeah, that's about it, really.
Cool. So guys, reach out to Dan, man, if you're an aspiring model. Or if you're in a band or whatnot, man, hit Dan up, man. He'll fucking sort you out a good price to fucking do some fucking photos for you. Let's make some fucking memories. Dan, thanks, man.
No worries.